and made a massive £80 profit. By the way, if you're wondering what happened to the revolving bookcase, well, it's as I said. It exceeded its estimate and went for £320. And I'm sure it could have even done better. Well, it's been the battle of the young guys versus the young girls today, and the results are in. Some are winners and some are losers. First of all, the guys, which is Chris and Richard. A spectacular loss of £90. Now, what do you put that down to, guys?
Just wasn't our day. Just no one in the room that was interested.
Unfortunate.
And we were going for the risky stuff. If it came off, it would be good, but...
You went for it big time, it didn't pay off, the bidders were not there in the room, unlucky. But have you enjoyed it?
Loved it. Yeah, it's been great.
You've been good sports and we've enjoyed having you. Now on this side, it's the girls. It is Lucy and Ruth. Now they are winners. A cracking win of £65. Now when I spoke to you this morning, I said, is there anything that you would like to change of your pieces? What did you say to me?
The lamp.
I have to say, I thought the lamp was a loser. The auctioneer thought the lamp was a loser. Your expert on the day, Paul Hayes, he fancied his chances. Yeah. But more importantly, there were two people in there fighting head-to-head to buy the lamp today, and it came up trumps. Have you enjoyed the day with us?
Definitely, yeah, it's been great.
We've enjoyed having you on the show. 65 quid profit. Who's going to have it?
Sister.
What are you going to spend it on, girls?
Ooh, sweets.
Sweets? Make sure your teeth don't fall out. See you next time. Bye for now. I'll tell you what, you've been great sport, all of you. Sweets? Are you sure? You'll live to regret it. If you want to be a contestant, our address is Bargain Hunt, P.O. Box 229, Bristol, BS 997JN, or visit our website.
Mia's playing dirty.
Someone's come on to me.
Just tell me who it is and I'll kill him.
It's Kevin.
And Finn's playing around.
I have just experienced the perfect integration of the physical and the metaphysical. In other words, she's had a jump.
You just spent the whole day trying to pretend we didn't make love last night.
If your husband was messing around with someone, would you want to know?
Hairdressers at war in Work and Love.
There's no way either of us can walk away from this.
Watch me.
Cutting It. New drama tomorrow at 9 on BBC One.
From the jungle to the full moon parties on the beach. Join the trail of the crazy drug.
This was, of course, my key. I'm slightly out of my age bracket here.
Your man on the inside.
Get me out of here.
Only on BBC One, McIntyre investigates drugs. Thursday at 9 on BBC One.
Now on BBC One, the news with Anna Ford.
Good morning. A woman who is terminally ill with motor neurone disease has lost the final round of her legal battle for the right to commit suicide with her husband's help. The European Court of Human Rights in Strasbourg ruled that Diane Pretty's rights had not been violated. She took her case to Europe after 3 British courts refused to guarantee her husband immunity from prosecution if he helped her to die. A Palestinian's been shot dead inside Bethlehem's besieged Church of the Nativity in an exchange of fire with Israeli forces. And 7 Palestinians have been killed in the West Bank town of Hebron when Israeli forces moved in. These latest incidents came after agreement was reached to end the siege of the Palestinian leader Yasser Arafat in his Ramallah compound. 6 Palestinian militants wanted by Israel will be turned over to American and British guards. Up to 100 police officers are to be based in schools in England under plans announced by the government. The £10 million scheme is aimed at up to 70 schools in inner city areas. And part of the officers' duties will be to help deal with truancy, which ministers believe is strongly linked to street crime.
That connection between truancy and children being out of school when they should be in and crime is stark, especially in some of our large urban areas.
The National Lottery has been given a multi-million-pound relaunch in an attempt to revive flagging ticket sales. The main draw will be renamed Lotto with the slogan, "Don't live a little, live a lotto." A 9-year-old girl thought to have had only days to live has had a heart transplant at London's Great Ormond Street Hospital. Abby Cape is said to be in a stable but critical condition after undergoing the operation within the last few days. The genetic details of 500,000 Britons are to be collected in a pioneering scheme. DNA samples will be taken from 500,000 volunteers and their health monitored. Scientists hope the data will help predict who is at risk of developing diseases such as cancer. And now for the weather. There'll be showers with sunny intervals across most of the United Kingdom. It'll be very windy with gales in the south and west. Tonight, rain will spread over most of Britain by dawn. Gale-force winds will return to the far south and west. That's it. I'll be back with more news in an hour.
The lunchtime quiz hour starts with nasty Nigel and more honest faces, but who's the enemy within? Bob's game is Wipeout. One wrong move and you've lost the lot. Harsh but at least fair at 12:30 on BBC One.
Auf Wiedersehen, Pet is back.
I've been to Florida. I broke my toe at Disney World.
Reunited. The new series continues Sunday at 9 on BBC One.
This is BBC One, but then you knew that, didn't you?
Hello, I'm Nigel Lythgoe, and this is The Enemy Within, the quiz show in which not all the contestants are equal. One of them has been given the answers to all the questions. That person is the enemy, and it's their job to remain hidden throughout the show. It's up to the other contestants to find them. So let's meet today's contestants. They are Chris Barraclough from Leeds, Jill Hill from Staffordshire, Matt Shin from Norfolk, Kathy Schofield from Salford, and Graham Blowers from London. Now, none of us have met each other before now. All we know is that one of you is a liar and a cheat who will stop at nothing to keep their identity hidden from everyone. The studio audience, our viewers at home, and especially you. If you cannot find that enemy, they will cheat you out of all of your winnings today. So let's meet our first enemy suspect. Chris Barraclough, you're a psychology student. Let's see what you said when we asked you, did you ever cheat at school?
I did cheat at school. In maths tests, we used to hold our exam papers up at the back of the class so we could see each other's scores. We all used to get quite high scores doing that, but I don't think I could get away with that anymore.
You don't think you could get away with it now, Chris?
No, I don't think so, Nigel.
Mind you, as a psychology student, I suppose it's going to be quite easy for you to spot the enemy today.
It might give me advantage, yes.
With what they say and how they react?
Yeah.
That is, of course, unless you're the enemy, Chris. Chris Barraclough, are you the enemy?
No, Nigel, I'm not.
I'm now going to ask you 3 questions. Each one is worth £25. If you don't know the answer or you answer incorrectly, then I will throw it open for a bonus. And remember, it's the way people answer the questions that will give you clues as to whether or not they're the enemy. Let's start round 1. The 23rd Psalm is used as the theme tune for which religious sitcom, Chris?
Is that The Vicar of Dibley?
It is. In cookery, which flavour enhancer is commonly known by the abbreviation MSG?
Is it monosodium glutamate?
It is, widely used in Chinese cooking. Who is actress Jolie Richardson's famous mother? Throwing it open. Jill.
Vanessa Redgrave.
It is indeed. Let's meet our next enemy suspect. Jill Hill, a part-time travel agent. Let's see what you said when we asked you, have you ever cheated on a relative?
I did once try and cheat on my brother. We were playing a game when I was much, much younger, and I tried to cheat to win, but I felt so sorry for him that I fixed it, so he actually ended up winning the game. I hate cheating, and I would never do it now.
You hate cheating?
I do indeed.
You'd never do it now?
Nope. I like to win fairly. Very competitive, and I like to win fairly.
But you've cheated in order to give yourself the advantage in that game, then you cheated again in order to give your brother an advantage in
and then put it all behind me.
So you're a good cheat.
I was when I was about 11.
Well, that's the qualification you're going to need today. Jill Hill, are you the enemy?
I'm certainly not the enemy, Nigel, no.
Your 3 questions, each worth £25. The Simpsons is shown on which US channel?
Fox.
Correct. Used as an antidepressant, the herb hypericum is better known as which saint's wort?
St John's wort.
Correct. Which city has baseball teams called the Mets and the Yankees?
New York.
Correct. All three right, Jill.
Thank you.
Let's meet our next enemy suspect, Matt Shin, who is a government policy advisor. Let's see what he said when we asked him, have you ever cheated at playing cards?
Yeah, I'm a terrible cheat at cards, and I'm now doing a course in magic tricks involving card tricks. So nobody that I know will actually play me at cards now because I'm such a terrible cheat.
You're a terrible cheat, man. And you work for the government.
Yeah, that's right.
So I'm sure 4 honest contestants will feel that you can lie to them and cheat them out of their hard-earned money.
I couldn't possibly comment on that.
Matt Shin. Are you the enemy?
No, certainly not.
Your 3 questions. Prior to 1960, the Guardian newspaper had the name of which city in its title?
Manchester.
Correct. Who released her Immaculate Collection album in 1990?
Madonna.
Correct. What is the name given to the electronic equivalent of junk mail? I'm throwing it open, Chris.
Spam.
Spam is correct. Matt, I'm rather surprised you didn't get that. You work for the government, you must use computers, and you must get a lot of junk mail. Let's move to our 4th enemy suspect, Kathy Schofield, a litigation executive. We asked you, have you ever cheated at sports?
Yes, I have cheated at sport. When I play my dad and brother at golf, I tend to keep the score and I don't put down the amount of strokes I've taken on the scorecard in order to try and win the game.
I've got a lot of friends like that, Kathy, and I call them enemies.
Doesn't make me win the game, though. Not good enough.
Kathy Schofield, are you the enemy?
No, Nigel, I'm definitely not the enemy.
Well, if that was a lie, it was a good one, Kathy. Your 3 questions, each one of them is worth £25. According to their 1987 chart topper, sisters Mel and Kim were never going to be what? Throwing it open. Matt.
Respectable.
Yes, they were never going to be respectable. Chartwell in Kent was the country residence of which British Prime Minister? Throwing it open. Graham?
Douglas Hume.
No, it was Winston Churchill. Who wrote the best-selling cookery book, How to Eat?
Dealey Smith.
Throwing it open. Jill?
I'm sorry, that's what I was going to say. Sorry.
It was Nigella Lawson, but Graham, you're a cook, and you didn't know who wrote that book?
No, I didn't.
Well, let's move to you. You're our final enemy suspect. Graham Blowers, you're head chef at London Zoo, and we asked you, what do you think about cheating?
I think cheating's wrong. It's deceitful. And if you're going to be deceitful, you need to have a good memory for all the deceits you make. And most people don't have a good memory, and they all get found out that way.
Graham, you think it needs a good memory to be a cheat?
Yeah.
You wouldn't need a good memory if you'd only just seen the questions, though, would you?
You need a memory to remember all your lies.
Graham Blowers, are you the enemy?
No, I'm not the enemy. You can trust me on that.
It isn't me that has to trust you, Graham. It's the other 4 honest contestants. Your 3 questions, each worth £25. Sarek and Amanda were the parents of which famous Vulcan?
Spock.
Correct. At Christmas time, the Feast of Stephen is more commonly known as what day?
Christmas Day.
I'm throwing it open. Jill?
Boxing Day.
Correct. King Hussein was sovereign of which Middle Eastern country?
Jordan.
Correct. Well, I'm not going to reveal your running totals at this point. Only our viewers at home will see those. All I can tell you is that Jill is currently the leader. You must decide whether that was through her brains or through her cheating. And you at home must decide also, because I'll be giving you the chance to phone in when we open the lines up at the end of our next round, which is a buzzer round. Each question now is going to be worth £50. And remember, it's not just about whether you answer these questions correctly or incorrectly, it's how you answer the questions that should give you your clues in order to flush out that faker as we enter round 2. Hands on buzzers. The Clean Up TV campaign was established in 1964 by Jill.
Mary Whitehouse.
It was. Which number system uses only the digits 0? Chris.
Binary.
Correct. Freestyle, Greco-Roman and... Matt.
Wrestling.
Correct. What drink is sometimes called Adam's Ale? Jill.
Water.
Correct. Which is the largest member of the violin family? Graham.
Cello.
I'm throwing it open. Matt.
Double bass.
Correct. How is London's Central Criminal Court more commonly known? Jill.
Old Bailey.
Correct. Who scored the quickest ever FA Cup final goal in Graham.
Robert Di Matteo.
Roberto Di Matteo,
Yeah,
yes.
Roberto.
Played for Chelsea. He scored in 43 seconds against Middlesbrough. It was almost like you'd read that answer rather than knowing his name, though, Graham.
No, I like sport.
Okay.
Don't like Chelsea, though.
We'll move on. Who is the Roman god of love? Jill.
Venus.
No. Throwing it open. Matt.
Cupid.
Correct. Venus is the Greek god. Alice entered Wonderland by following which character? Jill.
A white rabbit.
Correct. Which so-called cocktail took its name from a prominent Bolshevik? Graham.
Red Russian.
No. Throwing it open. Kathy.
White Russian.
No, it was the Molotov cocktail. Well, it's the end of the round, and I'm still not going to tell you your individual scores. All I can tell you is that Jill is still in the lead, but does that mean that she is today's enemy? I wonder what you're thinking at the moment. Let's pick up on those thoughts. Chris, who do you think the enemy is and why?
I think it's Jill.
Yeah, why?
Because she seems to be getting quite a few slightly wrong, which I think might be a plan to fool the rest of us.
And she's quite jumpy, isn't she? You picked that up as a psychology student?
Yes.
Jill?
I think it's Matt, because he immediately knew the Mel and Kim answer, and that's more my era than his, and I couldn't remember the title.
And quite a few things that he should know he's not
That he
getting
didn't
right.
know, exactly.
Matt, who is the enemy?
I think it's Graham.
Graham, why?
He doesn't look comfortable, and I think some of the things he's got very quickly, and particularly at the Roberto Di Matteo one, he seemed to slightly misremember that one.
Kathy, who is the enemy?
I think it's Chris.
Why?
I think Chris has had some usual questions and got the answers correct. So I'm sorry, Bob. I think it's Chris.
Graham, who is the enemy and why?
I think it's Chris as well. He's a young fella. He's got normally not so much knowledge and stuff like that. He's a couple of questions there I didn't think he would get, and he got. So.
Right, well, Chris, a couple of fingers are pointing at you. If you are the enemy, then you need to be careful. If you're not, you're being brilliantly framed by the enemy, who is playing a very clever game. So, you've heard our contestants' views. They're not quite clear yet who the enemy is, but do you know at home? If you do, then give us a call. If you think it's Chris, then call 0901 383 4141. If you think it's Jill, then call 0901 383 4142. If you think it's Matt, then call 0901 383 4143. If you think it's Kathy, then call 0901 383 4144. And if you think it's Graham, then call 0901 383 4145. Now, 5 randomly selected winners will each receive £200. The lines will be open until the end of our final round, and calls cost 25 pence. We'll now move on to our third round. I'm now going to ask each of you 3 questions, each worth £75, on a specific subject. Your problem is you haven't chosen that specific subject, so it's quite possible that you won't get any of the answers right. Unless, of course, you've been given the questions beforehand. Time is running out as we move into round 3. Chris, you're from Leeds, but your specific subject is London. Have you been to London?
I have, yes.
Yeah. Is that when you met Caprice?
No, that wasn't. That was in Centre Parks.
You told your friends you met her, but
Yeah.
you didn't actually, did you? She just walked past you.
Well, yeah.
So, you can tell lies of this.
It's true, yeah.
Let's see what you know about London. Olivier, Cottesloe and Littleton are auditoriums in which London theatre? Graham, you work at London Zoo, so you know London.
You reasonably well.
Yeah. It's incorrect. It's the Royal National Theatre. London's Leicester Square is home to a statue of which silent movie actor?
I don't know.
Throwing it open. Matt.
Charlie Chaplin.
Charlie Chaplin, indeed. He was born in Walworth in London in 1889. Situated in Westminster since 1967, what is the name of the Metropolitan Police Headquarters?
Scotland Yard.
Throwing it open. Graham.
New Scotland Yard.
Correct. Right, we shall move on, Jill, to you, and your specialist subject is famous firsts. In the first manned spaceflight in 1961, who was aboard Vostok 1?
Yuri Gagarin.
Correct. At Oxford in 1954, who became the first man to run a mile in under 4 minutes?
Roger Bannister.
Correct. Which country was first to allow its women the vote in 1893? Throwing it open. Graham?
France.
No, it was New Zealand. And interestingly enough, in the UK, it was only in 1918 that women got the vote, and they had to be over 30 to do that. We'll move on to you, Matt. Musicians' wives. Do you know any musicians' wives, Matt?
We'll see.
Which actress succeeded Heather Locklear as the wife of drummer Tommy Lee? Throwing it open, Jill.
Pamela Anderson.
Pamela Anderson, that's right. Before her third marriage to Liam Gallagher, which musician was Patsy Kensit's second spouse? Throwing it open, Jill.
Jim Kerr.
Jim Kerr of Simple Minds. Before that, she was married to Dan Donovan from Big Audio Dynamite. Which pianists' wives have included Tuesday Weld, Brogan Lane, and Nicole Rothschild?
Dudley Moore.
Is that a guess? It was a good guess, that was correct. We shall move on to you, Kathy. Your specialist subject is philosophers. Which Greek philosopher is best known for his mathematical theorem about right-angled triangles? Chris?
Pythagoras.
Correct. Not a difficult question, that one, Kathy.
Nerves got the better of me, Nigel.
Russell's paradox takes its name from which Welsh-born philosopher and mathematician?
Don't know.
Throwing it open. Graham?
Russell.
Well, of course, if it's called Russell's paradox, Graham, it's Russell. But what's his name?
Don't know, sorry.
It's Bertrand Russell. Which teacher of Aristotle is famed for his dialogues, Symposium, and Republic?
Don't know.
Throwing it open. Jill?
Plato.
Correct. Graham, we'll move to you. Your specialist subject is little movies. And little because little is in the title of the movie. Which little Steve Martin film featured a man-eating plant called Audrey 2?
Little Shop of Horrors.
Correct. The 1994 movie Little Women was based on a classic novel by which American author? Throwing it open, Jill.
Louisa May Alcott.
Correct. In which 1970 film did Dustin Hoffman play a 120-year-old man who'd witnessed Custer's last stand?
Little Big Man.
Correct. Well, that's the end of that round, and for the first time, I can now reveal your cash totals. And for our viewers at home, a reminder of those telephone lines, which will be closed at the end of our final round. Kathy, you have absolutely nothing. Chris, you have £200. Graham, you have £325. Matt, you have £375, and Jill, you have £775. So Jill is our current leader. What you have got to do is decide whether that is because Jill knows the answers or because Jill has been given the answers. We're now going to move into our final round, and it's a chance for you all to dramatically increase your totals. The first question is going to be worth £100, and any player can buzz in. If the question is answered correctly, the next question goes up by £25, but the questions will not be offered across. But one final thought here. Just relax for a moment and take on board what we've learned. Kathy has no money. Is she playing a clever game? Because I know, Kathy, you can tell lies. You once told a friend's mother that she'd won £10,000 in a competition. She actually went out and bought a new set of furniture, which must have upset her when you told her that you'd been telling lies.
Yes, that's right, Nigel, but in the end I had to come clean.
Chris, we know that you're a liar. You've told your friends about Caprice. You also cheated an airline when you were flying back from New Zealand with friends. You actually said you had bad legs. They moved you up to first class and you left your friends back in economy. Jill, you've actually lied to people. You sat back and said you don't like cheating, you don't like lying. You once told a holiday rep you could speak Turkish. You could only count to 10, Jill, couldn't you?
I could speak Turkish, though. I just exaggerated the amount I could speak.
Matt, you have been a liar, a cheat, a card shark. You even turned round to your girlfriend and led her to believe that you'd been awarded a knighthood. And she believed you.
She was about to phone her mum.
And when you went for a job and they wanted to know what achievements you got, you looked around the room, checked that there wasn't a piano in the room, and told them that you'd made grade 8 when you've never played the piano, Matt, have you? So, these are the people we're dealing with here. Graham, don't think I've left you out. You're a good cook, I'm led to believe, and one day when you were making fish mousse for friends that were coming around for dinner, and you saw that the fish mousses were flat, and you looked at your cats and they were licking their lips, Graham, weren't they? And you knew the cats had attacked the fish mousses.
They just tidied them up a bit for me.
Just tidied them up. But you served them, Graham, and you didn't tell your guests.
They've got very clean cats. Nobody got poisoned. So. I did tell them eventually.
Did you?
10 years later.
These are the characters you're dealing with here. You need to make your decisions at the end of this round. For £100, Lonely Planet and Fodor are names of Jill.
They're travel guides.
They are. For £125, Denise Lewis won an Olympic gold at the Sydney 2000 Olympics. Graham.
Heptathlon.
Correct. For £150, Seraphim and Cherubim are types of which heavenly beings? Jill.
Angels.
They are. £175, what is the highest and most active volcano in Europe? Graham.
Etna.
Correct. For £200, 3 of Henry VIII's wives shared which Christian name? Chris.
Anne.
No, it was Catherine. For £200, Charles de Gaulle, John Lennon and John... Jill.
They're airports.
They are airports. £225, which city in Georgia hosts the annual US Masters? Graham.
Atlanta.
It's Augusta.
Augusta.
For £225, which unit of weight is used to measure the thickness of tights and stockings? Jill.
Denia.
Correct. For £250, in which country would you find Mombasa and Nairobi? Jill.
Kenya.
Correct. For £275, in rhyme, who stuck a feather in his cap and called it macaroni? Matt.
Yankee Doodle.
Correct. That is the end of the questions, and our phone lines are now closed. Here are your final cash totals. Kathy, you still have nothing. Chris, you have £200. Graham, you have £625. Matt, you have £650. Jill, you have £1,700, which means that you are today's winner. However, that'd be the closest you ever get to that money. Imagine having to hand over £1,700. Well, that can still be stolen from you because the enemy is still within. In a moment, I'm going to be asking you to nominate who you believe that enemy is, and you must agree by a majority. In the event of a split decision, the audience vote will be decisive, whether you agree with it or not. It's now time for that audience vote. So, audience, who is the enemy? At this stage, our audience's vote can only be seen by our viewers at home, but you've now had a chance to think, and remember, all of the questions you've answered so far might be for nothing unless you answer this one question correctly today. Chris, who is the enemy?
Graham.
Jill, who is the enemy?
I agree with Chris. I think it's Graham.
Matt, who is the enemy?
Graham.
Kathy, who is the enemy?
Jill.
Graham, who is the enemy?
I think it's Jill.
Well, we have a majority decision. Chris, Jill and Matt all point the finger at you, Graham. But are they right? Will the real enemy now stand up? Congratulations, Matt. Please sit down. You've outwitted your fellow contestants, and in fact, you outwitted the audience as well, who thought that Jill was the enemy. Was there ever a point, Matt, that you felt insecure?
Jill had me banged to rights in the first when we went on the first time.
Yeah.
Strangely enough, I am actually old enough to remember Mel and Kim. So
Really?
It's good makeup
yeah,
you got on.
But she read me right. I think she picked up the right vibes, but she didn't give a good enough reason.
When I asked you about spam, you must know. Junk email is spam.
I've heard of that, yeah, but I couldn't get the word out. I didn't. So.
And you didn't know Pamela Anderson, and all of a sudden you knew Dudley Moore.
It's all coming back.
Was that Dudley Moore? I just thought, no, this is a bit strange here.
It's all coming back to me.
Well, you certainly have fooled everybody, and you're going to go home with what you richly deserve, which is all the other contestants' money, and that adds up to £3,175. So well done.
Thanks very much.
Chris, you didn't get it right.
No.
Matt, had you fooled all the way along the line?
He did.
Anything that stood out for you?
My first instinct earlier on was that it was Matt, but as soon as the game started, I was convinced it was Graham.
Why did you think it was Graham?
Just seemed a bit on edge throughout, and I just thought he was trying to hide something.
Jill, you've just lost £1,700.
Kicking myself, Nigel, I really am, because as Matt said, I thought it was him first of all, and then when Graham said Robert Di Matteo, I thought, oh, it should be Roberto, and I changed my mind. I follow the psychology students' way of thinking, you see.
Yeah. Kathy, you're going to go home with absolutely nothing.
Yep.
If you'd have got the enemy, you'd have split that money and at least gone home with something.
Yeah. I didn't suspect it was Matt for a second. I thought it was Jill. She was so quick on the buzzer that I didn't think it was Matt. I thought the enemy would be on the buzzer first.
Graham, both Matt and Kathy pointed the finger at you at the end there.
Mm-hmm.
They thought you were the enemy.
I wasn't.
No, you weren't, but you didn't get who the enemy was either, did you?
By the time we got to my vote, I think it was all over and done.
Yeah.
They'd all suspected me. I couldn't change their voting by then.
No.
So it didn't matter who I voted for.
And you'd picked up £625, which you very kindly handed over to Matt. How do you feel about that?
No, he done well.
Well, contestants, you didn't spot the cheat, so you're going to go home with exactly what you deserve today. And that's absolutely nothing. Well, that is all for now. Today's cheat, Matt, got away scot-free, proving that good cheats can prosper on the enemy within. See you next time, and remember, keep your friends close and your enemies even closer.
Who'd want to poison a vicar? A new mystery for Inspector Linley, tonight on BBC One after EastEnders. Next is Lunchtime. Bob's on his mark for Wipeout.
So how was your day at the office?
I help protect this country from the likes of you. Oh, you know, so.
Spooks, coming in May on BBC One. MI5, not 9 to 5.
You say you want to work, but you can't seem to get off benefits. Is it that you lack opportunities, or should you be pulling yourself up by your bootstraps? That's I Can't Better Myself on Kilroy tomorrow morning, 9 o'clock on BBC One.
Now on BBC One, the game with more answers than questions.
Playing Wipeout today, Teresa Viner, hairdresser from Derby, Paul Masterman, hairdresser from Worcestershire, and Karen Shanahanna, hairdresser from Salford. So let's meet our head stylist, the star of the show, Bob Buckhouse.
Thank you very much. Welcome, folks. Thank you. Well, head stylist, an all hairdressing show. A hairy show, folks. A hairy show. Thank you. Your applause has brightened up my mood. I tell you, someone left a message on my answering machine today. This was the message I heard. You know how annoying this can be. Bob, call me as soon as you get in. It's very important. That's it. Didn't leave a name, didn't leave a number, no idea who it was. That is so frustrating, isn't it, when they do that? It's so infuriating. Yes, that is bad for you, you know. Don't bottle up your anger. Vent it. Vent it. What I did, I passed the frustration on. It's the only way. It's the only way. I phoned up total strangers and left them messages. Yes, I said, hello, it's me. I found it. Call me. Click. Hello, you're adopted. Gotta go. You know who's out and he's sworn to kill you? Run. I used to get up to stunts like that when I was a kid. Did you? Practical jokes. My parents used to hit me. I expect your parents used to hit me. I probably deserved it. When I was a kid, I wanted to be a criminal. Yeah, because I grew up in a really bad, run-down section of my house. And now I get away with murder every day on Wipeout. Hello, Claire, hello, Paul, hello, Teresa. Just a quick rinse. Well, but you're not just a hairdresser, are you? You are a special kind of hairdresser.
Yeah.
You are mobile.
I am.
Move about. Unless a comedian would say, I expect you to drive a roller. You have time to watch television?
I do, yes.
What's your favourite?
I like You've Been Framed.
Oh, it's great, isn't it?
Yeah.
That Lisa Riley's a bonny lady. Ooh, I like a lady to have a bit of, on her, you know. Her blood type is tikka masala, you know. Some women carry a donor card in their handbag. She carries a donor kebab. If you're watching, Lisa, only kidding. What about movies? Do you have a favourite movie?
Yeah, I like Ghost.
Oh, the one where Whoopi Goldberg plays a psychic.
Yeah.
Oh, it was terrific, Phil.
Yeah, it's really
I once worked for a psychic, which was, it wasn't too bad. One good thing, when I quit, I didn't have to give 2 weeks' notice.
Yeah.
That was good. What about your, thinking back over your short but beautiful life, what's your earliest memory?
I always remember going to Cleethorpes with my gran on holiday.
When you were tiny?
Yeah.
On the beach?
Yeah.
Lovely beach at Cleethorpes. Ever been back?
No.
You should go back. Oh, I was reading about Cleethorpes Beach the other day. What did I read? Oh, the longest-serving deck chair attendant actually collapsed on the beach. It took 5 people 40 minutes to work out how to get him up again. No, he's gone down again. Well, there you go. What do you worry about? Apart from worrying about talking to me.
Well, my weight, actually.
Your weight?
Yes.
Good Lord, you look so slender.
Thank you.
Oh,
It's worked.
Oh, that's terrific, isn't it? Jerry Halliwell, you know she lost all that weight. She said she lost 2 stone, snowboarding and sex. How she managed that? I found it difficult enough just to stand up on it. Hello, Paul. You styled your own hair today?
No.
And your moustache? Oh, you didn't. But you are a hairstylist and hairdresser.
Yes, I am.
Yes, sir. Where do you work?
The cutting room in Stourport.
Lovely name, isn't it? The cutting room. Stourport, eh? What do you actually do?
I'm a gents hairstylist.
Right, and that involves what kind of thing?
Colouring, highlighting, cutting, styling.
Oh, blimey, you must be bloody good.
Yeah.
Well, I have the clumsiest barber in England. Really, I'm not kidding. He tried to cut his throat and accidentally shaved himself. I know, it's hard to believe. Some of my jokes are. What about funny incidents, Paul? Have you had any in the cutting room or elsewhere?
Before I went to the cutting room, I used to work with an elderly gentleman. Got a customer in and he said, oh, just give me a quick trim around the back and sides, please. Started combing through. Next thing you know, comb went away from the head. Wig still attached to the comb.
Oh, no. And he didn't think you'd notice?
No.
It's unbelievable, isn't it? He didn't need Head and Shoulders, he wanted shaken back.
That's it.
Yeah. If you weren't a hairdresser, and I'm sure you're a very successful one, what would be your dream job?
An executive pilot.
Gosh, really?
Yeah.
Flying fascinates you?
Yeah, I love it.
Oh, gosh, you've done a bit.
Yeah.
Ever been up on a glider?
No.
Oh, I do that in Dunstable Downs, where I live near. I live in Bedfordshire.
Yeah.
And up there in a glider, it's so peaceful, it's so quiet, you can't hear anything. And the in-flight movie is a silent film. Really love it. Up there, watching Milton Sills and Gloria Swanson. What am I talking about? What's your favourite television? Because I asked Teresa.
It's got to be Star Trek.
Oh, you're a Trekker.
Oh, yes.
Can't say Trekkie anymore. Trekker. I can never understand Captain Kirk. He wears that obvious wig and then says he's going to boldly go where no man has gone before. Oh, we're having a proper wigging here today. And we haven't done a Brucey joke. What's the worst date you've ever been on, Paul?
It's got to be a blind date. A friend stitched me up. He said, got this cracker. Went up, met her. Awful. Sat there all night, totally ignored each other.
No.
Yeah.
It wasn't a blind date, it was a dumb date.
Oh, yeah.
Silence. Do you worry about anything?
My wife and money.
In that order. Money is the root of all evil. Love of money is the root of all evil. I wish I had a quid for every time I've said that. And that brings me to you, Karen. Hi there, darling. And you're not only where do you do your hair? You're a very specialised hairdresser.
I'm a hairdresser in a hospital in the Ladywell building at Hope.
In a hospital, folks. See, we've all heard of cuts in the NHS, now we know who's making them. Oh, thank you. How long have you been doing that, Karen?
17 years, Bob.
Wow! You must have had some funny moments.
Yeah, there was one incident where I went on a ward and you tend to do quite a lot of haircuts in a day.
Yes.
So, and a lot of the patients are in wheelchairs, so I was just going through, cutting gents' hair and ended up putting a cape round a gentleman who ended up being a visitor, and I was about to cut his hair.
You did?
And I didn't realise.
You'd have had a free trim.
I know.
How lovely. How many do you reckon you did that day? Or how many could you do in a day?
We do quite a lot.
What?
We've never counted.
12?
Oh, more.
15, 20?
Say about that, 20 to 30.
Wow, that's going so... What would be your dream job?
Air hostess.
Oh, you'd like to fly too?
Yeah.
You've travelled a lot. Where have you travelled?
I've travelled many parts of Spain. I've been to Bombay, America, and also been to Australia a few times.
Oh, Australia, the haircuts there are terrible. Oh, the haircuts in Australia are horrible. Ned Kelly went around with a bucket over his head. That's how bad they are. What would be your favourite TV?
Graham Norton.
Oh, I love him.
Brilliant.
He's terrific.
Yeah.
Do you know, when he was a little kid, they knew he'd be gay because his treehouse had a breakfast nook. Most people have a favourite motto or a saying. Do you have one?
Yeah, and I do, Bob. I always believe that you should live every day as though it was your last.
That's a great motto. My wife and I do that. My wife and I live every day as if it was our last. And it's so relaxing, lying there in our shrouds with pennies on our eyes. Hour after hour after. I think I am going round the twist, you know. What about embarrassing moments, Karen?
Quite a few years ago, I had very short nails and I wanted to grow them. So what I did, I put false ones on. So I proceeded to shampoo a lady's hair, lifted her up after shampooing her, and all the nails were stuck in her hair.
I think Brucey has nails in his hair. Something must keep that thing on. We finally got to a Brucey joke on a hairdressing edition. What wouldn't you do for £1 million?
I wouldn't ride naked horseback.
And you're frequently asked to do this, obviously.
No, it's just something I would never do.
You'd make a lousy Lady Godiva.
I would.
Wouldn't you? She rode side saddle, you know. She rode side saddle through the streets of Coventry, and all the people of Coventry shouted, "Hooray for our side!" Would you please make my guests feel very welcome? Lovely. Thank you. Well, Wipeout brings you lots of grids and knowledge brings you lots of quids. Each right answer pays out 50. Each wrong answer's not so nifty. Pick one pattern, cry oh no, as the burglar steals your dough. Playing wisely is very vital. Where's the first grid? Here's the title. And it's Soap Suds. Oh, this is very much in your line, folks. Which of the characters on our grid are, or have been, hairdressers or barbers in our favourite British soaps? Here come the answers. As always, 16 answers, 11 will top you up and 5 will clean you out. Before we came on, our contestants drew their lucky lots, and guess what? Teresa gets to go first. So, Teresa, pick me a character who has been, or was, or still is, a hairdresser or barber in one of our favourite TV soaps.
Audrey Roberts.
Audrey Roberts on the top line. Oh, yes, owner of Audrey's Hairdressing Saloon in Coronation Street. Audrey Roberts. Sue Nichols. Lovely Sue Nichols.
Fiona Middleton.
And you're absolutely right. Of course, she worked as an assistant and then later ran the salon as her own business in Corrie.
Maxine Heavey?
Oh, yes. Maxine. I remember Maxine very well in Coronation. She was a stylist too, wasn't she? Yes, you got 150 quid with those 3 answers. Do you want to play or pass?
No, I'll pass.
OK. Paul, have you seen something you like?
Diane Murray.
Diane Murray, you can see over on the left-hand side of the grid. Yes, Brookside hairdresser who runs the salon New You.
And I think I'll pass.
OK. And we come to you, Karen. We still have 7 correct answers.
Denise Osborne.
Oh, yes, of course. Denise Osborne, please. She opened up a salon in Corrie, didn't she, in 1992?
Mandy Dingle.
She was many things. Were you ever a hairdresser, Mandy? I'm sorry, Karen. Mandy's stolen away your 50 quid. I guess you took offence at my little joke. You were back with you, Teresa.
Felix Kowalski.
You think Felix Kowalski on the bottom line was a barber? He's a Polish character who arrived in Walford in 1995. Did he run a barber shop in the EastEnders? Yes, he did. You seemed a little uncertain there.
I was.
Were you? So you got £200. Do you want to pass?
I do.
Yes, of course you did. Paul, do you want to double that 50? We have 5 correct answers to do it with.
I'll go for Della Alexandra.
You fancy Della Alexandra in the bottom right-hand corner of our grid. Along with a partner, she set up some kind of job in EastEnders. Was it a hairdressing salon? Yes, the salon Cool for Cuts. Cool for Cuts, nice title.
And I'll pass, Bob.
Yes, of course. Karen, we have 4 good ones, 4 bad ones.
Binny Roberts.
Binny Roberts. There's a lovely name. Hairdresser? Yes. The Cool for Cuts also. She was the partner.
Viv Windsor, please.
Viv Windsor on the bottom line of our grid. Oh, no, she was an Emmerdale, but she was the postmistress, not the hairdresser. So now we've reduced, or rather Karen has delightfully reduced, our wipeouts to only 3. Teresa?
Tracy Corkill.
Tracy Corkill on the right-hand side of the grid. Are you or were you a hairdresser in the early days of Brookside, perhaps? Yes, from Brookside. You have £250 back, and you look to be in passing mode.
I am.
Yes. Paul, we're back with you. We only have 2 good answers out of those 5. Can you find either?
I'll try Pete Fallon.
You're going to try Pete Phelan up in the top left-hand corner. He's a Brookside resident, all right. In the late 90s, he had a firm there. Was it a hairdressing salon? Yes, Jackie's Salon. He was the resident hairdresser there. Pass?
And I'll pass, please, Bob.
There's only 1 correct answer out of 4. It would be rather foolish to risk your £150. Karen, let's see if we can get £50 in the bank for you and keep it there.
Julie Cooper.
Julie Cooper in the top right-hand corner. Are you, were you, could you be an EastEnders character who worked in the salon in Turpin Road? Yes! Well done. Let's look at those scores, shall we? Well, as you can see, Karen has £50, Paul has 150, but it's Teresa with 250 who qualifies to get first pick of our second grid, entitled Colleges of Oxbridge. Ah, fascinating. Not that teaching standards are maintained even at Oxbridge these days. Oh, well, no. Not when the Minister of Education doesn't even know his 3 R's from his elbow. Can you pick out the 11 real colleges or university halls of either Oxford or Cambridge University? Here come 16 answers. That's right, Teresa. We're looking for the genuine colleges or university halls of either Oxford or Cambridge University. Do you recognise a name there?
Trinity?
You say Trinity. Is it a college or university hall in Oxford and Cambridge? Yes, in both. Well done.
And I'll pass, please.
Paul?
Templeton, please, Bob.
Templeton, bottom right-hand corner of the grid. In Oxford? Yes, it is. Given the Royal Charter in 1984 in Oxford, Templeton.
And I'll have Lonsdale.
It's over on the left-hand side of our grid. It's mentioned in the Inspector Morse series. Does that mean it's a real college, or does it mean it's fictitious? It's fictitious. And it cost you £200 to get out of Lonsdale. Wow, that's expensive. Karen?
Greyfriars, please, Bob.
Very good. I used to read all about Greyfriars in the Magnet and the Gem when I was a little boy. Is it an Oxford college founded in 1224? Yes, 1224. Just beggars the thought.
Porterhouse, please, Bob.
Porterhouse. I know Porterhouse Blue, in which David Jason was so outstanding in the character of the porter. Is there a Porterhouse at Cambridge? Tom Sharp made that wonderful college creation of Porterhouse Blue, so it doesn't exist in real life, but it does on the pages of his wonderful book. Teresa, you have £300 to look after. We only have 3 wipeouts to risk. There's 8 good answers.
Emmanuel.
On the top line, Emmanuel? Yes, Cambridge, founded in 1584.
And I'll pass.
Paul, here's a chance to put £350 in the bank. 7 correct answers are up there, sir.
Darwin, please, Bob.
You fancy putting your hopes on Darwin? Let's see if you're right. Yes, at Cambridge, founded in 1964, Darwin.
And I'll have Shelley.
You'll bet your 50 quid on Shelley. On the bottom line, named after Percy Bysshe Shelley, perhaps? The poet was expelled from Oxford for writing about atheism. Did they actually name a college after such a fantastic man? Yeah, so your £50 a lot no sooner appears than it disappears. Oh, Karen, only 2 wipeouts now out of those 8.
Magdalene.
Magdalene, in the top right-hand corner. Magdalene, please. It's pronounced Magdalene, of course. Cambridge and Oxford both have a Magdalene college.
Elgar.
One of England's great composers. Is there a college named after Elgar, or will it cost Karen the 50 quid she got with Magdalene, or will it make her Magdalene? She's extremely Magdalene now, not to say suicidal. We only have 1 incorrect answer on the grid now, Teresa. You can't possibly hit it, can you?
Shakespeare.
And it's got £350 to make that choice. Oh, look, at this point it says, on my cue sheet, please give the scores. How do I do that, folks? Nobody's got anything. Oh, isn't that sad? However, I am happy to tell you that with 7 correct answers, Teresa certainly qualifies for round 2. No doubt about that. And although Paul and Karen have both given me 5 correct answers, Karen has given me, unfortunately, 4 wipeouts, whereas Paul only hit 2. So it's to Karen, I have to say, it's paperweight time, Karen.
Thanks, Bob. I've had a lovely time anyway. Thank you.
Well, thank you. We're very grateful for being here, and we hope that all your patients in hospital appreciate all that you and your colleagues do for them.
Thanks very much.
Karen, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much indeed. Round 2 is our auction round, where our grids go under the hammer, open to the bidding of Teresa and Paul as they anticipate how many correct answers they can spot on the grids. Well, Teresa answered the most questions correctly today, so she gets first bid on our first grid. And the title is A Cut Above the Rest. Well, you'd expect this, folks. You're both the expert professional hairdressers. We're going to ask you which 8 of the 12 men on our grid are famous hairdressers. Let's have a look at 12 names. Clark, Sorby, Versace, Worthington, Sassoon, Galway, Leslie, Mitchell, Frida, Collins, Giannini and Gianola. But I think you can spot some of the ones that are not famous hairdressers. Teresa, out of the 8 famous hairdressers on the grid, how many do you think you could identify?
Five.
Do I hear 6, Paul?
I'm going to be greedy, Bob, and say I'll do the 8.
Wow. The full Monty. It doesn't often happen, does it, folks? Well, all our regular wipeouters are very impressed when this happens. It happens about twice in every series that we do. In over 400 shows now, I think it's happened only 4 times. Go ahead, the full Monty, it can't be outbid. Who's your first choice?
Vidal Sassoon.
Yes.
Paul Michel.
Paul Mitchell in the bottom. American hairdresser, his own range of products.
John Frieda.
John Frieda on the bottom line. Once married to Lulu.
Andrew Collins.
Andrew Collins in the bottom left-hand corner. Twice British Hairdresser of the Year.
Nicky Clark.
Nicky Clark. There's a famous name for everybody in the top left-hand corner. Yes, he's often on the Style Challenge, and this morning...
Trevor Sorby.
Trevor Sorby on the top line. Won British Hairdresser of the Year 4 times, no less.
Charles Worthington.
Charles Worthington, top right-hand corner. Salons were owned by him across London.
And my old friend Umberto Giannini.
Well, if you're wrong about Umberto Giannini, I'll be amazed. Well-known Italian hairdresser? Yes, well done. You really deserve that applause. Terrific. And all the rest are Wipeout, so I don't need to identify them. Very well played. Now you now lead 1 grid to nil. You get first pick of our second grid. I wish you success with this too, but I wish you both success. This is called Real Reptiles, which 8 of the 12 answers on our grid are feature films with a reptile in their title. 8 of them are genuine feature films. 4 of them, of course, are Wipeouts. Here they come. Cobra, Crocodile Dundee, Alligator, Crocodile Shoes, The Mock Turtles, Gordon Gecko, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Dinosaur, Snake Pass, Turtle Diary, Snake Eyes, Anaconda. 8 of those are genuine movies, 4 of them are not. Paul?
I'll try 5, Bob.
5. 5 I'm bid. Any advance on 5, Teresa?
No, go on.
Took a little while to establish, but it's your turn, Paul, again.
All right, Bob, I'll have Anaconda.
A very exciting film, 1997 thriller about a killer snake in the Amazon.
Crocodile Dundee.
Top line, a world-beating movie for Paul Hogan. 1986.
Alligator.
Alligator, right next to that Paul Hogan success. A horror film about an alligator who terrorizes Chicago.
Snake Eyes.
Snake Eyes. I think that's a Nicolas Cage movie. He's a corrupt cop in Snake Eyes. Yes, 1 more correct answer wins you this grid and will mean that you will play for your holiday on today's Wipeout, Paul.
And...
Careful how you go.
Go for Dinosaur.
You're going for Dinosaur on the bottom line. A herd of dinosaur trek to the dinosaur equivalent of Eden. Is the title of that film so simply Dinosaur? Yes, it is. Well played. And away with the Wipeouts. Snake Pass, which was never a movie. Mock Turtles, Gordon Gecko. Well, Michael Douglas played that character, but that was in a film called Wall Street. And Crocodile Shoes is a TV drama, of course, with Jimmy Nail. Congratulations, Paul. What a display of knowledge.
Thank you.
And thank you very much, Teresa, for being with us on Wipeout. Have you enjoyed the experience?
Yes, I've had a lovely time, thanks.
Great. We have Wipeout designer wine goblets as a souvenir, and our thanks and a round of applause.
Thank you.
Paul, join me at the game control. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of Paul Marston, who comes from Stourport on Severn, where he is a hairdresser in the cutting room. He's married to Tracy. Where would you like your Wipeout wings to waft you?
Gran Canaria.
Oh, you like the Canary Islands?
I certainly do.
Ah, the Canaries, famed for those wild greenish-yellow birds that you find there, usually seen staggering out of the pubs late in the morning. Probably the discos in these days. Here are 4 choices. Paul, what's your choice of subject?
Science and nature, please, Bob.
Science and nature?
Yes, please.
That's what you've chosen?
Yeah.
Sometimes it can be very easy, and sometimes it can be tough. Let's find out what kind of science, what kind of nature. All right, all right. Sounds like metal ores to me. All right. Which of the words you'll see up there on the grid are the names of metal ores? So 6 of them will be metal ores. The other 6 very obviously will not be. They'll be minerals, possibly. Let's have a look at the answers. The number you want to see in the top left-hand corner, of course, is a 6 when you pop Bob's button down. Up in the right-hand corner, that's the Monkhouse Minute in which you have to win it. So your minute to win it. Good luck on this, Paul. You've been a smashing contestant, and I hope you get away with this one. Your minute to win it starts now. Paul is looking for metal ores. He goes straight to pitchblende. I think that's right. Almandine, nickelite, azurite. That's 4. Apatite, and magnetite. You've only used a quarter of a minute. You've got 3 right. gypsum. You have 6. You have to take one out if you're going to put one in. Takes out azurite. Puts in argentite. You still have 25 seconds. There's only 2 wrong. Takes out argentite, puts in bauxite. Does that improve things? No, there's still 2 wrong. We only have 15 seconds left. Out comes bauxite, azurite goes back in. Out comes armadine, it goes cinnabar. And we have 5 seconds left. 4, 3, 2. I don't think we're going to make it. Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, well. Let's find out how you could have got it right. Will you tell us where the right answers are, please? Argentite, which you had, magnetite, pitch blende, cinnabar, bauxite, nickelite. You had them all, I think. I'm not sure, but I'm just getting them all in the right order. I think apatite was a deliberate illusion. However, the way you knocked off those hairdressers, just one of all 8 of them, was brilliant. And you played a good game. Are you pleased?
Yeah, totally enjoyed myself.
We have the champagne flutes for you as a consolation prize, or as a souvenir, however you want to look at it. And we wish you well as you continue in the cutting room in Stourport on Severn. Ladies and gentlemen, Paul Marston. Thank you. You've had a good show of it. You did try hard. As always, we end with a Monkhouse motto. A man's got to do what a man's got to do. A woman must do what he can't. Yeah, watch me out. Till next time.
Former champions John Higgins and Mark Williams are in action at the World Snooker. See them this afternoon on BBC 2. Coverage starts in a minute.
If they shaved your head, would they take away your individuality? If they gave you a number, would they take away your identity? If they locked you in a cell, would you behave like a criminal? 15 innocent men are locked up in the name of science. Half are given power, half are not. The Experiment, coming soon on BBC 2.
Mia's playing dirty.
Someone's come on to me.
Just tell me who it is and I'll kill him.
It's Kevin.
And Finn's playing around.
I have just experienced the perfect integration of the physical and the metaphysical. In other words, she's had a jump.
You just spent the whole day trying to pretend we didn't make love last night.
If your husband was messing around with someone, would you want to know?
Hairdressers at war in Work and Love.
There's no way either of us can walk away from this.
Watch me.
Cutting It. New drama tomorrow at 9 on BBC 1.
This is BBC 1 in London and the South East. Now the news at 1 o'clock with Anna Ford and Nina Hussain.
Diane Pretty is told her husband can't legally help her to die. She'd asked the European Court to give him immunity from prosecution. Israeli forces move into Hebron. At least 7 Palestinians are killed. Putting police in the classroom, the latest plan to tackle truancy. And a makeover for the lottery, Camelot tries to bring back the punters.
Later on BBC London, how did 4 children come to die in a house fire? An inquest hears from a crucial witness. And suing the Met, 2 people involved in the May Day protests accuse the police of wrongful detention.
Hello and welcome to the BBC's news at 1 o'clock. A terminally ill woman has lost her last legal bid to be allowed to kill herself with her husband's help. Diane Pretty, who's 43, has motor neurone disease, which will lead to her death within months. Mrs Pretty took her case to the European Court of Human Rights in Strasbourg after 3 British courts refused to guarantee her husband immunity from prosecution if he helped her to die. Her news conference is about to start in London and our health correspondent Karen Allen is there. Karen. For the pretties behind me, today's judgment is really a sad conclusion to what's become so much more than one woman's personal fight for the right to die. We were with them earlier today when they received the news. As Diane Pretty and her devoted husband Brian left their home to head for London, the disappointment was clearly etched on their faces. Though they'd heard the judgment just a few minutes before, they were giving little away.
All reactions will be made at the conference, not before.
Can we just ask how Diane's health is today, Brian?
Well, it's not as good as what it was when we was over in Strasbourg, because it's through a period of time and that's just got slightly worse.
Strasbourg offered Diane the final ray of hope to choose when and how her life comes to an end and so avoid what she sees as an undignified death. Less than 6 weeks ago, 7 European judges began considering her case to test whether English law, which prevents her seeking help to die, clashes with her human rights. Today they ruled that it didn't, so no change in the law.
This is a law that many people believe is wrong, and it is wrong to place people in Diane's situation in this really tragic trap.
With her battle through the English courts, Diane's case has become so much more than one woman's mission to win the right to die. But her critics fear that had today's decision gone her way, it would have exposed disabled people to potential abuse.
I feel enormous relief, both for Diane Pretty herself and for the many hundreds of disabled people, including me, who would have been affected by the judgment if it had gone in her favour.
Diane Pretty arrived for a news conference without the result she'd hoped for, but the enduring memory will be of a woman who, though she had so little time left, resolutely refused to back down. And what many people are saying is that although Diane has lost her case, she has raised the profile of the whole issue of voluntary euthanasia, and it's now time for a more open and honest debate. Anna. Carol, is this the end of the legal line for the Pretties, or can they take it any further than this? Well, there is a right to appeal, but it's not an automatic appeal. Diane's case was heard by 7 judges at the European Court of Human Rights in Strasbourg. They could apply to get it heard at what's called the Grand Chamber in front of 17 judges. The real problem is you can see Diane is growing frail by the day, whether she has the will or the stamina to take that course of action. They've not given us any indication yet that that's what they plan to do. Karen, thank you very much. And we'll go back to the news conference of Diane Pretty and her husband later in the programme. BBC News 24 are carrying the conference live at the moment. At least 7 people have been killed during a new Israeli offensive in the West Bank town of Hebron. The army is carrying out house-to-house searches. The latest fighting comes as a group of retired